there. How are you doing then? I just had to pop out and get some more raw dog food. You know, although obviously we don't eat meat, but the dogs themselves, they eat raw meat, like, you know, proper natural diet, with vegetable mixed in, you know, for like all of the nutrients that they need. But so we ran out, so I've ordered some to be delivered by our normal suppliers, but didn't realise how low we were. Anyway, so I just thought I'd take opportunity to do a quick video. No, don't get great opportunities too often nowadays. Last night I was on a podcast with Rice. So Rice TVX, I think is what the channel will be, and you know, he's got it on several platforms, not just on YouTube. So, you know, have a look on, I'm sure he's got it on Rumble, as well as, I can't remember the name of the other one, funny name ending in ooh, which I'm going to transfer all of my videos to. I think it's already been done today, actually. So I was on his channel. I've been on a few times before. He's a really good guy, you know, and he does like a crypto channel as well, so about cryptocurrency. So what he's agreed to do actually is to come on to my private members association to do a chat, an education, all about, you know, cryptocurrency and how it works and whatnot, and everything about it, and how to trade, maybe everything. But it's going to be for the private members only, for several reasons. First of all, I mean, I want to give value to our members. You know, I want other people coming on to actually provide value, to provide content as well. But also, he doesn't want it going out like into a bigger public field. You know, he wants to keep it, what he says, more low-key, private as well anyway. You know, because he's not a financial advisor, he doesn't give financial advice. You can't take what he says and go and, you know, gamble your house or anything like that. So that's, you know, but he wants to keep it like on a private basis. So we're gonna have him in, gonna do a recording, or maybe even go live, so you just can ask him questions. And you know, get a good sort of like chunk of education from him. At the end of the day, I mean, you know, he does a lot of trading, and that's how, you know, he actually makes his money, a lot of it. So somebody well worth listening to. So he'll be coming along. Don't know when. I think I've been on his channel. That was the 3rd time. So what he's going to do is he's going to put them out on his channel, going 1, 2, and 3. So it's like a little mini series, if you like. And then a few more weeks time, I'm going to go on again and do a 4th one, you know, and then we'll arrange for him to come on and do some kind of education program for our PMA members. But I mean, it's open to everybody that wants to become a member. So, you know, you can just go on www.claimyourstrawman.com. You can actually join the mailing list from there just by putting your name and email in. So you get the emails. I send out a lot of really good information on emails, all free information, but valuable information. And then also, you know, if you want it from there, you can have a look around the site. And if you wanted to join the members area, you can. Okay, we don't have a membership because we don't want to be on a ship. I've spent many years on ships. So I don't want to be in their ship though. So we just have a members area for our private members association, and it's a faith-based ministry. That's what we are. So that's how we run our operation, if that's the way of putting it. You see, a PMA right? A private members association. You should look them up. I mean, they're getting bigger and bigger, more popular and more popular. I talk to a lot of different groups all across the world that are in PMAs, operating in PMAs, and what they do is they do commerce with each other, right? It's private commerce on private contracts. They trade, if you like, with each other, bartering with each other. Some of them call it an honorarium. Oh, oops, big car crash there. Wow, that's destroyed. And others just call it donations. But basically what they do is they give knowledge share. Well, everything. The ones that we've seen, the ones I've been dealing with, do like knowledge share for different purposes. But some of them have food. They actually trade food with other PMAs and private members, because everything's done on a private members contract. It's all private contracts, which has been around and been doing that, like, you know, since day dot. It's, you know, the new stuff is the limited companies or the LLCs or the partnerships, all of that. So we actually just run it as a faith-based ministry, and our faith is a faith in nature and nature's creator. I don't think many people can argue, you know, that we live in nature. You're surrounded by nature, and obviously the creator of that nature. So that's our faith, and we run it as a faith-based ministry. So you can go and check it all out on there. We've got a lot more knowledge sharing ideas that are going to be added onto there. A lot more going to start looking at solutions, let's call them solutions, and some people may call them remedies, but like doing it via equity. So we're going to add a lot more into the PMA. We'll do a little bits and everything on the channels, and you know, we've done a lot of like free stuff, telling you about your debt and everything like that, you know, how to get rid of your debt, and how to smash a debt. So it's on smashadebt.com. So we've got a lot of like different templates that we've worked out for people to be able to use, and it's basically like it's a mixture between a conditional acceptance and what they call a DSAR, data subject access request. And the data subject access request, that's you asking for your data. Talking about data, it's quite funny really. I'm going to make up a template for people, man and woman, to actually send into their local supermarkets that are doing this facial recognition. Right now, I don't know if you've seen it or where you go, but now there's a big court case down south, Southern Co-op, who are in the court now. I don't know what the result. I don't think they've got a result of it yet, but okay, they are getting sued because of the facial recognition equipment that they've got in the store. Because you've got to remember, they need the GDPR regulations, and they need the license and the correct license to actually have this in operation. And they've never asked anybody. Has anybody asked you? So yesterday I went into my local Asda, the big one though, like, you know, because I was passing it. So I went to the self-checkout, you know what I mean, because that's what they nearly all are now. It's like, this is the funny thing, people that they're actually working in these stores, ignorant, ill-mannered, rude people, and they don't realise that their time is so limited because they're not going to have a job very soon. Everything's going to be on automatic like till machines. There's going to probably be 2 people running the entire store, so they should have a little bit more manners, and they were very rude to me. So I goes up to anywhere, and I'm putting my stuff in on this self-serving till, and it's got a big like picture of me there, right? So I put a plastic bag over the camera, okay? So all you can see is a blurry red thing, right? So I've done that, and I put all my stuff through, but because I had actually bought some beers for last night and for tonight to have with me curry, vegan curry, you know, they've got to come and prove you're old enough to drink, over 25, even though it's only 18 to drink. But anyway, but I only look slightly over 25, so that's why they have to come and check. But anyway, this woman come up really rude, and she rips the bag off the camera, presses the button to say I'm over 25, and doesn't even speak to me. Starts walking off with my bag. It was my bag. Going, hey, excuse me, you've got my bag there, thank you. And she's like, oh, have you paid for this? Like, bloody hell. And anyway, so, and I could see them all whispering, the staff, right? And then they're going like on the little phone thing. Thought it's a bit strange there. Now, normally when I'm going out to the supermarket, I just get me receipt, scrumple it, throw it away. Can't be bothered. But I don't know, and I just think that's something, you're being very weird, you lot. So I kept the receipt, I kept it in my hand, I was holding it. The receipt, that is your title, by the way. Talking about private trusts. That receipt, all right, is your title to that property. The property being the food, which is the res, okay, which has been deposited into a trust via you and the supermarket, and that receipt there, that is your title, your proof of title that you own that title. So there you go, a little trust lesson for you. So anyway, I'm walking up to the exit, and there's this hideous, disgusting, obese creature saying, come walking towards me. And I've got the receipt like in my hand, so very visible. And he said something like that, like, excuse me, next time you come in, do not cover that camera. So I just looked at him, like, you know, I went, excuse me? He went, do not cover that camera. And I said, well, that's my data that's getting put onto that camera, and I'm pretty sure that you haven't got my consent to have that data going on there via the GDPR. And I said, do you know what the GDPR license is and what it does? And then there was this, like, you know, like that Scottish minister, the little hideous pig, Cranky, and she's just resigned. It looked a little bit like her, this one hiding behind. She must have been the little thing, pedestal thing, I don't know what you call it, little desk thing. And I don't know what she said. She started shouting. And anyway, it's like, and he was going, yeah, we have got GDPR licenses. Everything's all this, everything's all that. He says, well, you know, under section or Article 4, okay, you actually need, no, is it 6? I can't remember what it's on now. 6. It's Article 6. You need my consent, right? No one has actually asked for my consent, and you do. You need consent. You should go and read the GDPR articles. And you can see that they always say that they ought a legitimate interest. Well, they don't have a legitimate interest, and even if they do have a legitimate interest, and this is in the regulations, just got to read them, they still need your consent. I'm sure it's Article 6, but I'll go and double check that. So anyway, I couldn't be bothered to argue with them, because the dogs were in the house on their own, and so I wanted to get back. I wasn't going to get into any big hideous conflab with someone who's got like the IQ of a peanut. So you know, nothing wrong with being a security guard, and everyone has to work and everything like that, but you know, come on, get a grip. You don't have to be so rude and ignorant, and you know, and if you don't know what you're talking about, the best thing to ever do if you don't know anything about the subject is just keep your mouth shut, hope for the best. But anyway, and I just turned to walk away so I could get back to the dogs, because they were in on their own, you know, and obviously the old one needs a lot of care. She can't really walk much. And as I'm walking away, he says, and if you don't like it, don't bloody come back. You know, it's like, this is like a major supermarket, like, you know, Asda. I'm thinking, you know, obviously I just laughed, but thinking how disgusting, really. This is your version of customer care, you know. If you don't like it, don't come back. Yeah, I have no idea what your own acts and statutes, all right, or your own regulations, your own rules, you're all breaking, all right, completely illegally, and there is absolutely no lawful way that any facial recognition or any of those cameras can be in any of those stores. Look it up for yourself, it'll tell you. There is no lawful way that you can actually have those cameras there. It's all unlawful, and when you look at the actual, they're in a case now, hopefully that they'll get done, right? And then you'll get proof that it's actually not only unlawful, but it's also illegal in their world. Idiots, man. There you go, a bit of excitement for Friday afternoon. Oh, hey, so ridiculous, these people. But so in the meantime, you know, like I say, like we're actually going to be putting a lot more content in for the debt smash the debt, going along the lines of like the conditional acceptance. So just so you know, like on the conditional acceptance, when you're dealing with these debt collectors who have absolutely no right to be talking to you whatsoever, they're although they think they do, right? Whenever you're gonna never ever refuse to pay any debts, charges or anything, never refuse to pay, always give them a conditional acceptance. What that means is you agree to pay, but upon proof of claim. So you're not refusing anything. If you are offering to pay, which is exactly what you're doing, I offer to pay you, then there's nothing to adjudicate. They can't take you to court because you're being honourable. You see, if you refuse to pay, then that's being in dishonour, and then they can take you to court. All right. I know that there's a couple of groups, I'll not really say the names, but you know, a couple of these debt collector groups, one of them is 3 letters, and it's the letter before, it starts with the letter before Q in the alphabet, and they're hideous. They like send people or send the things into court even when they haven't got anything to adjudicate. It is quite easy to smash, okay, but you know, it's just absolutely disgusting and ridiculous. But all you're going to do is you're going to make an offer to pay upon proof of claim, and a good way of doing it is just say, look, I'll pay the whole thing off upon receipt of my original signed agreement. Now you got to remember, okay, so give me my original signed agreement and I'll give you whatever you want. I'll settle the whole entire debt. So you're asking to pay it all off. Please let me pay it all off. Just all you got to do is return my original note. Well, you know they haven't got that, don't you? Because you know that they've sold that. They've securitized it, if you want the fancy word for it. But it means they've sold it. Because obviously you're talking about, when I'm saying note, I mean a promissory note, because that's what it is. You've created the promissory note when you signed that, what you thought was a narrow road here. What you thought was a loan application, for instance, it was actually you signing a promissory note, which is a security instrument, and then they securitize that security instrument to make even more money from you, and then ask you to pay again, you know, because it's already paid off, and you didn't lend money in the first place, you created credit. So that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, so like you could do that. That's one way of doing a conditional acceptance. Oh, there's a lot of cars here. This is going to be busy getting out of. Yeah, so you know, try doing that next time. If you've got any debt collectors chasing you, just make sure you give them a conditional acceptance on any way you want to do it. Or you can do the DSAR, the data subject access request, when you're asking them for the, where did you got my data, and who gave you permission to have it, because you didn't consent to them, you've got no contract with them, and they have no chosen action. A chosen action is the legal right to actually enforce a debt or enforce something, a thing. All right, and you get all sorts of ridiculous responses from these debt collection agencies, you know, when you're talking about to them about the Law of Property Act 1925 section 136 part 1. I've had them even say, but it's an unsecured loan, it's got nothing to do with property. You need to you need to look at Black's Law, have a look at Black's Law for the definition of property, which is good for when you're doing trusts as well. Okay, the definition of property, which is a thing, and then look at the definition of thing, which is why, okay, and property can be tangible or intangible, or you know, so it can be something that you can't really see or touch, like stocks and shares. You can't like run around with them in your pocket, can you? You know, like your house, if you run into it too hard, you're going to hurt your head. That's definitely tangible, you can feel it bumping on your head. But like, you know, if you've got stock shares and that, you can't put them in your pocket. They're not tangible. So, and that's what, and I look at all the definition, and I always go off Black's Law. And so on Black's Law, when you're creating a trust, the same as what I'm talking about on the property, the res, if it's property and it's allowed, it's to be property of yours, it's exclusively of yours, not shared with others. It's got to be original and unique to you. Okay, which is what I was trying to tell people. Well, that in that case, with it being an intangible, right, and unique to you, what is your DNA? What do you think is your DNA? Do you think it's unique? Well, obviously, because I want to try and use it to prove who you are. So it's definitely unique. Is it shared with anyone else? Well, not really, not your whole DNA, it isn't anyway. So that is definitely, you know, that is a good argument to say, well, it's property, because under the definition of Black's Law, property being unique to me, well, in your fingerprints and your DNA and your blood type, that to me is like the most exclusive, unique things that we have. And they are things, and if you put the definition of thing, it can be property. So you have to use their definitions. Don't worry about what you would think, because presumptions, that's, you know, and assumptions what get you into trouble. You have to go off what is written in the actual Black's Law definition. So that's what we're talking about. Legalese, their language. So, like, you know, and that's what I'm saying on a debt itself is property, because it's unique to you. If they're saying it's like an account number, it's unique to you, you want you to pay it, then it has to be your property. So you can deposit that property into a private trust as well. However, using equity, what they've done is that there is also a trust relationship. That is a fiduciary relationship that any debt collector has created with you. So there's more than one way to actually beat the debt collectors, but I don't want to go into that too much because that's on the equitable side. So it's a good way, but I'm too long-winded to go over a little video now. And I need to get back and get them doggies fed now, so hopefully that raw food will be defrosted by the time I get back, and they can have their lunch. So and that would be it. So I hope that you're enjoying your strong end of today, the day of Saturn, and then tomorrow, the day of the sun. I'm hopefully going to get into the gym tomorrow. I'll get training tomorrow because I couldn't get in yesterday with too much going on. Now I'm still, just as I thought, I'm still in the middle of, now I don't make a habit, really, I've told you that before, don't make a habit of fighting, like, you know, parking tickets or anything. I can't be bothered. If I ever got one, I would just probably pay it and get on with my life. My time is far more important. However, these people were being extremely ignorant, and also, right, it was hilarious, the thing that they actually enforced these private parking tickets with. I can't remember what it's called now. It's something like the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012. I think it's 2012. Protection of Freedoms Act. They're actually trying to fine you under the Protection of Freedoms Act. Are you kidding me? Protection of freedom? But under there, you know, this is the thing. If you ever get a private parking ticket, I'm doing a template for that as well, right? So I have the template that I'm going to give to the managers of the supermarket, and then you can report them then to the ICO. If they're taking film of you there, it's completely illegal, right? So I'm doing a template for you to go and approach them. But then also, right, I'm going to do another template for how to actually beat these private park. You can do that through equity as well, but not everybody, I don't want to sound rude, not everybody's got it in them to do that and to be capable of that. But right, they actually completely abuse their own act and statute to try and punish the drivers, and they do, and they're not allowed to do it. And it's like only, so they've got their act and statute, the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012, I think it is, I'll double check. And then they've got the guides, and it's a special section. Flipping heck. Terrible doing this. I've got a big pile of bricks at the front door, so it's really hard to reverse in nowadays. Yeah, and they completely abuse their own act and statute, so it's quite easy to actually beat them. And also on ours, right, because we got a ticket sent just before I changed the address, unfortunately. However, right, the ticket what they've sent is to the private trust, so I'm like half interested in leaving it just to see how they would deal with that. How are they going to deal if I never responded? They're going to take a private trust to court. You can't take a legal, it has to be a legal fiction to go to issue a summons. You can't issue it to the private trust, it's not a legal fiction. Very, very strange. But anyway, I'm going to do a template and I'm going to put that out to people, and we're going to send them up to the mailing list. So if you want to get them free templates, hopefully I'm going to be finished them by the end of this weekend, and we'll send them out to the mailing list to everybody, and that'll be a template. I'm not saying everyone's going to want to approach the supermarket, but just in case you are, because what they're doing is they're stealing our privacy. And then also the parking ticket one, but not a council parking ticket. It's the private parking ticket. Okay, so get onto the mailing list if you want to see that. Okay, but for now, you just go and enjoy yourselves. Take care, and I'll see you all soon.